While Birth by Sleep's combat style is not ideal for a fair number of Kingdom Hearts players, you have to admit that the game has some of the most diverse and visually stunning attacks that have been shown in the franchise so far. From new attacks using light and darkness, to variations of classics like fire, blizzard, thunder, etc., the game really has it all in terms of variety. But the question remains, which commands are best and how do you go about getting them? Well, that's what I'm here for. This guide showcases a list of commands that are most likely worth your time, and also shows how to meld or otherwise obtain them. This list will also include shot locks and other skills like defense and movement, in case some things tend to be overlooked by most players. Once again, this guide makes the most sense when viewed from start to finish due to context, but timestamps are in place in the description just in case a specific section or command is needed to be looked at. Strap yourselves in because this is about to be a long ride. That said, I'm Ventus Arashi, and here is my list and melding guide of what I consider to be the best commands for all characters in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix. Let's go! Now, before I get started, I need to get a few things out of the way first for those who are new or relatively new to melding. To start, an ultimate command is the highest tier of command in the game by classification. In other words, it's supposed to be the most powerful class. However, which commands are considered to be the best attack or magic ones for your deck will be subjective and thoroughly depend on both player and playstyle. Some people like to be quick and effective, others like to be flashy, so this list should cover as broad of a range as possible to suit a number of different needs or affinities. The second thing I wish to discuss is the typical melding formula for magic spells. Normal magic commands have 3 forms: base, upgraded, and advanced. There are 8 base magic spells: Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, Cure, Arrow, Zero Gravity, Stop, and Magnet. Each one levels up to a maximum of 3 when installed in the command deck. Once base spells reach level 2 at minimum, melding 2 of the same type will result in their upgraded versions, like Firaga, Blizzaga, Thundaga, etc. Melding a level 3 upgraded spell with a level 3 base spell of the same type will make the advanced version, like Firaga, Blizzaga, Thundaga, etc. This is what's considered the standard spell leveling formula in the game to unlock advanced spells at the Moogle shop, unless you get them earlier from either a random adverse drop or from a chest. And lastly, once a command reaches its maximum level, a gold crown will appear next to it as an indicator. Max levels for commands can fall anywhere from a number of 3 to 6 depending on how powerful they are. These are the commands that are shared by all 3 characters, so the recipes that are used to make these commands do not change even when playing as a different character. Magnega is one of the best magic commands out there since it's perfect for crowd control. This spell picks most unversed up off the ground and holds them in the air in a concentrated spot for a few seconds, slowly sapping their health away for the duration of the spell. Magnet is able to be purchased from the Moogle shop after the 3rd world has been cleared, but players can get it before even visiting the 1st world by going to the Keyblade board, claiming this bonus panel, and finishing the game afterward. Be warned that the Cure command shares this same bonus panel with Magnet, so if that's not what you're after, quit and restart the command board minigame until you have Magnet on the panel, claim it, and finish the board. Once Magnet is obtained, use the standard spell leveling formula to unlock Magnega. Thundaga is a great offensive spell as it rains lightning bolts from the sky upon enemies. This is an excellent spell to pair with Magnega to do large amounts of damage at once to the unversed that spawn in. Magnega will keep enemies airborne in one spot, while Thundaga can finish them off from below. Thunder is able to be purchased from the Moogle shop after the 2nd world has been cleared. Once Thunder is obtained, use the standard spell leveling formula to unlock Thundaga. Aqua starts the game with Thunder in her standard deck, but Terra and Ven will have to wait until they clear their 2nd world before they can get started. Also, the Thundaga recipe has a 5 to 10% chance of transforming into the Lightning Ray shot lock when melding, so make sure to have an extra set of melding commands on hand just in case. The Lightning Ray Shotlock is one of the most powerful shotlocks in the entire game, and has the potential to be made from melding as soon as the second world has been cleared. Easiest recipe is Thundaga by melding a level 3 Thundara with a level 3 Thunder. Incidentally, this recipe has around a 5 to 10% success rate. If melding is out of the question, or is flat out unsuccessful, you can scoop it up from the spaceship board by claiming this bonus panel and finishing the game afterward. Curaga is the most powerful healing spell available for all three characters. Cure is able to be purchased from the Moogle shop after the first world has been cleared, but players can get it before even visiting the first world by going to the Keyblade board, claiming this bonus panel, and finishing the game afterward. Be warned that the Magnet command shares this same bonus panel with Cure, so if that's not what you're after, quit and restart the command board minigame until you have Cure on the panel, claim it, and finish the board. Once Cure is obtained, follow the standard spell leveling formula to unlock Curaga. Renewal block allows all three characters to recover HP from a successful block. To get this, you must have a spare block command and a Curaga command, both at max level, and meld the two of them together. Ice Slide is the same as a standard air slide, but with ice damage potential added to it, which is so much better than its standard counterpart if I'm being honest. To get this, you must have a spare air slide command and a Blizzaga command, both at max level, and meld the two of them together. The Mega Flare causes every unversed in the vicinity to explode, unless their health pool is too high, like a boss, or unless they are resistant to fire, like the Red Hot Chili for example. This is made from melding a Fission Firaga command with a Crawling Fire command. Fission Firaga is made from melding Firaga with Araga, attach an Abounding Crystal to this for the EXP chance ability, while Crawling Fire is made from melding Firaga with Stopka, attach a Wellspring Crystal to this for the Once More ability. Fire, Arrow, and Stop are available to all characters at the Moogle shop after the second world has been cleared, or unless they grab it earlier in the game from another source. Fire is normally found in a chest in the Dwarf Woodlands. Terra and Aqua can find it in the same place, from a chest in the underground waterway. Ven can find it in the cottage clearing right behind the dwarf's house. Ven also starts the game with Arrow in his standard deck, while Terra and Aqua can grab this command from the Keyblade board if they wish. Keep in mind that the Blizzard command shares the exact same bonus panel with Arrow. Terra can also grab Stop early after the first world has been cleared by going back to the Land of Departure and looting it from a chest in the Mountain Pass by the training equipment. Once you have the base spells, buy at least 3 of each and follow the standard spell leveling formula to help them get to their advanced forms. By themselves, Firaga is good as a target tracking ranged attack. Araga lifts enemies off the ground and has the potential to stun them, and Stopka freezes them dead in their tracks with temporal force. I also should note that when playing as Ven, both the Aurora and Araga recipes have a 5 and 10% chance respectively of transforming into the Tornado command when melding. Similarly, when playing as Aqua, both the Fission Firaga and Crawling Fire recipes have a 20% chance of transforming into the Firaga Burst command when melding. Unlike the Lightning Ray Shotlock, which can only be melded once from transformation, both of these transformed commands can be created multiple times, so have several extra melding sets on hand just in case this happens. Sonic Blade has the character repeatedly lunge at a target or targets Keyblade first by hitting triangle when the prompt appears on screen. Sonic Blade can be obtained in different ways. One method is by revisiting the Olympus Coliseum and beating Hercules at the Break the Urns minigame. It can also be obtained from a bonus panel on the Deep Space command board. This command can also be melded by using an air slide and a blitz. Keep in mind that this recipe has about a 90% success rate. Blitz has a 5% chance to be dropped by the Sonic Blaster unversed in Deep Space, or from the Moogle shop after most worlds have been cleared. Ven and Aqua can find Blitz from chests in Neverland's Mermaid Lagoon and Deep Space's Turo Prison Block respectively. But if I'm being honest, you're probably better off melding Blitz to get it since it takes a while for the other methods to work. Blitz does take a few steps to make. First, meld Quick Blitz with a Poison to get Poison Edge. Second, meld Poison Edge with Cura to get Slot Edge. And finally, meld Slot Edge with Quick Blitz for Blitz. The Magnet Spiral is similar to Magnega, but more violent and grounded. This uses magnetic force to pull in surrounding enemies and sends them flying all at once with a spin attack after a few seconds. Easiest recipe for this is melding a Binding Strike with the Magnega command. If the Moogle shop doesn't have it yet, Binding Strike can be made from melding Bind with Quick Blitz. Transcendence has the character create an anti-gravity field on multiple targets, and deals damage both continuously and afterward by sending them hurtling in all directions. The only melding recipe is the Magnet Spiral and Zero Graviga. Deep Freeze, as the name implies, freezes enemies solid in a block of ice. Easiest recipe for this is melding a Binding Strike with a Blizzaga. The Mind Square is probably the most reliable command for dealing damage to bosses, but it's also not half bad at crowd control either. This surrounds the character in a ring of magic mines that explode when an enemy touches them. Easiest recipe for this is melding Stop with a Fira. Thunder Surge cloaks the character in lightning and rushes an enemy, dealing multiple hits in a few seconds. Like its flaming cousin, contrary to its namesake, this is an attack command, meaning the damage it does scales more with physical strength than magic. Best recipe for this is melding a Thundara with a Fire Dash. Incidentally, Fire Dash is made by melding a Sliding Dash with a Fire. Fire Surge cloaks the character in flames and rushes an enemy, dealing multiple hits in a few seconds. Like its electric cousin, contrary to its namesake, this is an attack command, meaning the damage it does scales more with physical strength than magic. Best recipe for this is melding a Binding Strike with a Fira. Now, the only reason I've decided to put Break Time on this list is because it's needed to unlock trophies for all three characters. To get it, head to Disneytown and go underground through the manhole. Make sure to have a few Thunder Surges in your deck for this, or at least a reliable way to activate the Thunderbolt command style. Once you reach the generator, use your electrical abilities to power it up, and make your way across the gears and hands until you reach Pete's Rec Room. Once there, ascend the room using the vertical faux pinball table, and hit every last one of the bumpers at least once. This will unlock the neon bar cage surrounding the platform in the middle of the three rotating bumpers. Doing this is tricky, but keep trying and eventually you will get there. Once the platform has been opened up, drop onto it by any means necessary and open the chest inside to get the Break Time command. Once you have Break Time, immediately install it in your deck and use it for all three characters to unlock the Musclehead trophy for Terra, B-Boy for Ven, and Majorette for Aqua. For Ven, keep Break Time in your deck and level it up to its max, because this command is used in melding one of Ven's ultimate ones. These are the commands that are exclusive to Terra. Terra's best commands tend to be more physical, but he does have some decent magic-based ones as well. The Ultima Cannon is Terra's ultimate shotlock, and sees him transform his Keyblade into a giant cannon that can launch up to 3 devastating attacks at enemies. This is obtained by completing the Keepers of the Arena mission in the Mirage Arena, which is available once you hit Arena level 20. Brutal Blast knocks enemies into the air and then finishes them off with a powerful spinning attack. This command can be found in a chest in the Turo prison block in deep space, but it can also be made from melding a Mind Shield with a Stun Edge. This recipe has about a 70% success rate. Stun Edge is made by melding a Thunder with a Sliding Dash, while Mind Shield is made from melding Stop with Ignite. Ignite is made from melding Bind with Fire. Brutal Blast is one of 2 commands exclusive to Terra that is often used when melding his other exclusive ultimate commands. One more thing to note is that the Brutal Blast recipe has a 30% chance of transforming into Quake when melding. Dark Haze has Terra cloak himself in darkness and charge enemies, potentially inflicting the Doom status effect. This is found in a chest in Neverland's Mermaid Lagoon, but it can be made from melding a Fire Surge with a Zero Gravity. While not terribly effective on the battlefield, Dark Haze is one of 2 commands exclusive to Terra that is often used when melding his other exclusive ultimate commands. Meteor Crash sees Terra leap into the air and bring his Keyblade down, raining meteorites around him. The easiest recipe for this is melding Fire Strike and Brutal Blast. Fire Strike is found in a chest in the Olympus Coliseum's gate area, but it can also be made from melding Fira with Poison Edge. Poison Edge comes from melding a Quick Blitz with a Poison. Geo Impact has Terra bring his Keyblade down on a single target, causing a small cluster of rock to shoot up from the ground in a single direction. This can be picked up from a chest in Neverland's Mermaid Lagoon, or it can be made by melding two Brutal Blast commands. This recipe has a 30% chance of transforming into the Quake command when melded. Final Fantasy veterans should recognize this one. Zantetsuken sees Terra assume a crouching stance before quickly lunging forward with his Keyblade and slicing through an enemy, similar to the real-life martial arts of Iaijutsu and Iaido. Sadly, from what I could tell, this does not slice through multiple enemies at once unless they are close together and/or in Terra's line of attack travel. However, Zantetsuken does work wonders on a single target, especially if said target is slow. Terra will be vulnerable in this stance though, so timing is key to pulling it off. Melding this is a bit complicated since it's made from Stopka and Sonic Blade, but it's also available from the Moogle shop after 5 worlds have been cleared. Incidentally, this recipe has a 20% chance of transforming into Ars Solum when melding. Ars Solum is a brutal attack that is similar to Ars Arcanum. This command has Terra unleash a flurry of hard-hitting attacks with the potential to execute 4 more when the triangle prompt appears on screen. This can be made by melding either Stopka and Sonic Blade, or Stopka and Dark Haze, both of which have a 20% chance of success. The alternative is waiting to pick the command up from a chest in the Skull Rock area in Neverland. Windcutter has Terra spin around like a tornado after a brief pause, sending enemies flying. Melding this will be easier than getting it since the chest location is the Twister Trench in the Keyblade Graveyard at the very end of the game. Best melding recipe is Araga and Confusion Strike. Limit Storm is similar to Windcutter in that it has a similar attack animation, but instead uses a white light to deal damage in place of a whirlwind. Once Terra gains 70 points from his sticker album, this will be available to him as a reward. The alternative is melding by using a Confusion Strike and a Brutal Blast. Oddly enough, if the Sacrifice command is used right before this, the light will change color to red and the attack will execute faster. Sacrifice has Terra assume a stance for a second, then lunge at an enemy, bringing the Keyblade down overhead. He increases his attack power for that one strike at the cost of some of his own health. If this command is used right before the Limit Storm command, the Limit Storm attack will execute faster and change the color of the light from white to red. Sacrifice can be obtained from this bonus panel on the Honeypot board, or, more preferably, from melding. This is made from Warp and Poison Edge. Warp can be tricky to get. You can find it in a chest in the ship corridor in deep space, or from trying to meld Zero Graviga using the standard spell leveling formula, which, sadly, has only a 20% success rate. The Chaos Blade is without a doubt the most reliable, damage-dealing attack command against bosses that Terra has. Think Sonic Blade but with teleportation and darkness power involved, which is fitting given the commands it's melded from. This command works exceptionally well against solo targets, but it's also not half bad at crowd control either. The only recipe for Chaos Blade is melding Sonic Blade with Dark Haze. Dark Firaga is just like the standard Firaga command, but with dark damage added along with the potential to blind them. Dark Firaga is made from melding Firaga and Blackout, which can be found in a chest in the Aqueduct area in Radiant Garden. Quake is arguably one of Terra's best magic commands. This sees Terra raise his Keyblade and cause pillars of rock to burst out of the ground in multiple directions, dealing quite a bit of damage to enemies. Quake has a 30% chance of being made from both the Brutal Blast and Geo Impact recipes, but this command is normally made by melding Brutal Blast and Magnega. This recipe, incidentally, has a 10% chance of transforming into the Meteor command. Meteor sees Terra get one step closer to being Sephiroth. He raises his Keyblade and summons a large meteor that crashes to the ground and explodes on impact, dealing quite a bit of damage. Meteor has a 10% chance of being made from the standard Quake recipe, but its guaranteed 100% chance recipe comes from melding Geo Impact and Quake. These are the commands exclusive to Ven. Ven has a relatively balanced set of magic and attack commands, but surprisingly has fewer exclusive commands when compared to his friends. The Multivortex is Ven's ultimate shot lock. This has him rapidly rush from enemy to enemy with the power of wind and slash them multiple times before summoning a large cyclone to finish them off. This is obtained by completing the Keepers of the Arena mission in the Mirage Arena, which is available once you hit Arena level 20. Thunder Roll is like the standard dodge roll, but offensive. It does not have invincibility frames or iframes like the standard dodge roll does, but it deals lightning damage on contact with an enemy. Melding Thundaga and dodge roll will make this, but make sure you have a spare dodge roll before attempting this or the game will not let you try. Fireglide is like the standard glide but with fire damage added to it. Glide is not terribly effective in terms of expediency, but it is useful for grabbing items and getting to areas that are normally out of reach. Fireglide, due to its ability to be leveled up, is inherently faster than its standard counterpart. Fireglide doesn't have a ton of practical use in combat, but it can incinerate nearby large or airborne enemies if you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry. The standard glide command is obtained after proceeding through Neverland. Once that's done, this command can be made from melding Firaga and Glide. I would highly recommend doing this if you don't have Superglide yet, since it is a quicker method of traversal. Make sure you have a spare glide command before attempting this or the game will not let you try. Superglide allows Ven to fly at a much faster speed than his standard one. There are two consistent ways to get this. The standard way is only available after Ven obtains the normal glide from Neverland. Once that's done, return to Disney Town, head through Pete's Rec Room, and ascend the room until you get to a rectangular hole in the wall with stairs leading out the back. These stairs go out to the balcony overlooking the raceway. Immediately after leaving the Rec Room from these stairs, hop on the crates off to the right after dispatching the enemies that spawn in, and you'll see a rooftop you can land on in the distance with a single chest. Superglide is in that chest, so jump as high as you can from the crates and glide on over to it to get it. Or you can do what I did and use 2 max level fire dashes to get to the opposing rooftop and open the chest before even reaching Neverland. A max level air slide also works. Beware the Chrono Twister and Blue Sea Salt unversed guarding it though. Wind Raid sees Ven hurl his Keyblade at enemies, which harnesses the power of wind and repeatedly circles back to strike its target. Best recipe for this is melding Araga and Freeze Raid. Freeze Raid is made from melding Strike Raid and Blizzaga. Spark Raid is what's considered to be the raid command's peak form. Hurl the Keyblade at an enemy and upon contact, it will send out beams of light in multiple directions, doing damage to all enemies that touch the light. Spark Raid is melded by using Freeze Raid and Magnega. Treasure Raid, another command that is exclusive to Ven, can also be used instead of Freeze Raid, but that one takes longer to make. First, meld Quick Blitz and Blizzard to get Blizzard Edge. Second, meld Blizzard Edge and Cura to get Slot Edge. And finally, meld Slot Edge and Strike Raid to get Treasure Raid. One thing to keep in mind is that when melding Blizzard Edge, it has a 5% chance of transforming into Ars Arcanum, so be sure to have extra commands on hand just in case. This classic Kingdom Hearts move makes a comeback after being absent from Kingdom Hearts 2's standard ability list. This version of Ars Arcanum has more slashes and is more acrobatic given Ven's connection to wind and light. The initial execution of this command has Ven attack enemies with a flurry of blows, with potential follow-up attacks when the triangle prompt appears on screen. This command is made from Aerial Slam and Blitz. Aerial Slam is found in a chest in Pete's Rec Room, but can alternatively be made from melding Arrow and Fire Surge. See the Sonic Blade section for info on Blitz. Time Splicer has Ven freeze time around every nearby enemy and teleport from one to the next, slashing them quickly. The time stop won't work on bosses, but it will keep Ven close to them. Unfortunately, this means that Ven will be more susceptible to taking damage from boss attacks since he won't be able to get out of the way or defend himself. Best recipe is melding Aerial Slam and Stopga. See the Ars Arcanum section for info on Aerial Slam. The Tornado Strike has Ven surround himself with wind and turn himself into a cyclone. Hitting the triangle prompt allows for follow-up attacks. This attack command has next to no range, and requires Ven to get in close and have the initial attack connect to trigger the follow-up attack prompts. This command can be obtained pretty early on in the game given that you have a Fire Dash in your deck. It is found in a chest in the Enchanted Dominions dungeon, but that spot is inaccessible without a Fire Dash command or the Air Slide leveled up to its max. Melding it requires an Araga and a Confusion Strike. Salvation is similar to Roxas's finisher in the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix boss fight. Ven performs a spinning attack and summons columns of light all around him that all do damage. This will even restore some of his HP. This can be obtained after Ven gets 110 points in his sticker album, but you can get it even earlier by melding Wind Raid and Curaga. Faith is similar to Salvation in that it summons several pillars of light and restores some HP. These pillars rotate outward from Ven to do damage, and the attack executes faster than Salvation does. In terms of crowd control, this is arguably one of Ven's best exclusive commands. The only way to get this is by melding Wind Raid and Break Time. It cannot be obtained anywhere else. Tornado is Ven's ultimate wind attack. This summons a twister that sweeps up all enemies in its wake for several seconds before dissipating and dropping them, if it hasn't taken them out already. The tornado's direction can be controlled, but it moves slowly. The only way to obtain this command is through melding. The 100% guaranteed recipe for Tornado comes from melding Araga and Magnega. However, as mentioned before, both the Aurora and Araga recipes have a 5 and 10% chance respectively of transforming into the Tornado command when melding. These are the commands exclusive to Aqua. Aqua's best commands tend to be magic, and she has quite a few of them, but she does have some decent attack ones as well. The Lightbloom is Aqua's ultimate shotlock. This has her fire off several volleys of magic light projectiles while she does a figure skating move called the Bielman Spin. This is obtained by completing the Keepers of the Arena mission in the Mirage Arena, which is available once you hit Arena level 20. The Firewheel is like the standard Cartwheel but offensive. It doesn't have invincibility frames or iframes like the standard Cartwheel does, but it deals fire damage on contact with an enemy. Melding Firaga and Cartwheel will make this, but make sure you have a spare Cartwheel before attempting this or the game will not let you try. Barrier Surge is similar to the other two surges, except Aqua uses her barrier to do damage instead of fire or lightning. This is actually one of the first commands that Aqua can grab. It's located in the Castle of Dreams foyer. There is a melding recipe for this, but it's honestly easier to just grab it, so I won't waste your time with that. Time Splicer has Aqua freeze time around every nearby enemy and teleport from one to the next, slashing them quickly. The time stop won't work on bosses, but it will keep Aqua close to them. Unfortunately, this means that Aqua will be more susceptible to taking damage from boss attacks since she won't be able to get out of the way or defend herself. Aqua can obtain Time Splicer from the Rainbow Falls Ascent area in Neverland, but she can also get this from melding Aerial Slam and Stopga. See the Ars Arcanum section for info on Aerial Slam. Wishing Edge, another command exclusive to Aqua, can be used along with Barrier Surge to make Time Splicer, but this recipe only has a 10% success rate. By the way, Wishing Edge is made from melding Stun Edge and Binding Strike. Magic Hour is easily Aqua's ultimate attack command. This has Aqua teleport around the battlefield and dive down onto enemies with columns of light. The only way to obtain this is by melding Barrier Surge and Araga, so get this made pronto. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Triple Firaga fires 3 large fireballs back to back at a target. Create this from melding Fira and Firaga. Triple Blizzaga fires 3 Blizzaga shots back to back at a target. Create this from melding Blizzara and Blizzaga. Thundaga Shot is basically Thundaga with Firaga's movement mechanics, a ball of lightning fired at an enemy. You can get this by melding Thundaga with either Strike Raid or Firaga. The Seeker Mine is the Mine Square on steroids. Like the Mine Shield and the Mine Square, this lets Aqua summon magic mines that explode on contact with an enemy. Only difference is, once a certain range requirement is met, these mines follow enemies and chase them down until the explosive contact is made. You can get this from melding by using a Mine Shield and a Mine Square. See the Mine Square and Brutal Blast sections for how to meld both commands if needed. Aqua has 3 stylized magnet commands that can be used for free prizes without having to fight. The Energy Magnet siphons all the HP prizes you would normally get from defeating an enemy right out of them without even fighting them. This can be made from melding Cure and Magnera. The Munny Magnet does the same thing, but for money instead. This is made from melding Thundara and Magnera. And the D-Link Magnet does the exact same thing, except for dealing prizes instead of HP or money ones. This is made from melding Zero Gravira and Magnera. Firaga Burst has Aqua summon a miniature sun overhead that launches several homing fireballs at targets. Normally, Aqua would find this in a chest in Neverland's Mermaid Lagoon, but the other way to get this is from melding Fission Firaga or Crawling Fire. Either of those 2 recipes has a 20% chance of transforming into Firaga Burst when melding. See the Mega Flare section for details. Glacier sees Aqua freeze surrounding enemies solid and sends them flying with another sweep, shattering them on contact. You can meld this from Blizzaga and Deep Freeze. Ice Barrage is similar to Terra's Quake command, but with ice instead of rock. 3 large ice crystals burst out of the ground and damage enemies from below. This can be obtained from a chest in Maleficent's dungeon area in the Enchanted Dominion after the high jump has been obtained. But if you don't have that or want to go back there, you'll need to meld this by using a Mine Shield and Blizzaga. See the Brutal Blast section for info on melding the Mine Shield. Raging Storm has Aqua summon 3 cyclones of fire that rotate around her while she floats across the battlefield. The only reliable way to get this is by melding Fission Firaga with a Firaga Burst, since this recipe has a 100% success rate. But it does have a 10% chance of transforming from melding Firaga through the standard spell leveling formula. And with that, this list has been completed. Whew. I sincerely hope this was helpful to someone out there. I normally don't ask for this, but if you could please like and subscribe for this, that would be much appreciated and helpful, considering that it took me quite a while to get all the footage necessary for this. That being said, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Ventus, out.